Hello and welcome to Castival. We are the podcast which brings on star guests to talk about their highly personalised music festival. I'm the host Matt Hoss, and I'm going to inspect around their imaginary festival site and see how awesome it is. We'll talk about the music, why we love it, and so much more. Today's guest is a multi-talented comedy legend. He is a comedian, writer, and multiple podcast host. You might know him from Pappy's Flat Chair, or you might know him from the Ed Gamble and Matthew Crosby Radio X podcast. It's Matthew Crosby. Hello.
Hi, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks very much. Yeah, what a lovely introduction you wrote for me there. It's exactly as I sent it to you.
Yeah. It was in the press release. I had to change some of the pronouns.
Sure.
But yeah, how are you today?
I'm really good. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm very excited to be talking to you. It's always nice to talk to another person on a Zoom chat for a podcast. It just makes a real change.
You know what? I really want to shake up your day a little bit.
Yeah, for me, this is the podcasting window of my day. When it's sort of 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock is when my daughter has a nap.
Oh,
that's when I do. So that's when I do my podcasting. Go to sleep now, Daddy's got a podcast.
Well, I'm genuinely very appreciative of that. You must have very little time for yourself as well, and spend it doing on this podcast. I'm very, very, very happy to have you here. So, if someone were to ask you what kind of music are you into, how do you usually respond to that question?
I'd say rock music. I think that's
Bam.
I think basically if you listen to, because when you get your little rundown of what kind of music you listen to from Spotify, your year end rundown. I don't know if you use Spotify.
Yeah,
but they send you that little thing that says you mostly listen to this, and I think everything is just like it's always like indie rock, alternative rock, pop rock, punk rock. It's like, so I think there's a recurring theme here.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar music.
Have you always been into quote rock, or do you like all the different kind of niches there, or would you describe it as rock as what you like?
Yeah, I think I've been ever since I was a little kid. I've been sort of excited by the world of rock and roll.
Yeah,
it's always seemed like and it's it's a pretty broad church, isn't it? Like when I was really little, 10, 9 or 10, my favorite band was the Australian band In Excess.
Okay,
do you know those guys?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah,
big in the 80s, early 90s, and that was the first band I ever saw live. They were I took my dad to see them. My dad took me. That was the rate. I was 10. There's no way.
Come on, Dad, get in the car. That's cool.
I did actually, because they played at the London Arena, the Docklands Arena. It's not there anymore. But then about 10 years later, maybe 12 years later, they played there again.
Oh,
and
wow.
I did take my dad as one of the many presents I bought for my dad, where it's more for me than for him.
Oh yeah.
Blondie and In Excess were playing on the same bill, and so I took him to that. Which is a pretty dynamic bill, even in 2002 or 2003, whenever it was. Obviously Michael Hutchence had sadly passed by that stage. They had JT Fortune, was that, or John Stevens? It was they changed direction slightly after the tragic death of their lead singer, and they did a reality show. Did you know that? In Excess Rockstar, so to find their new lead singer. So there was like an X Factor style show to find their new lead singer. And I think that might have been the guy I saw, the guy who'd won the X Factor, which I suppose is it's not a million miles away from what Queen have done with Adam Lambert. I mean, it wasn't a competition to find to find a new Freddie Mercury, but he came up through the competitions. But I remember the first gig, when I went to that first gig, it just seemed like a very enticing, very exciting, very different world to the world I lived in. You've got Tim Farriss, who played the guitar whilst riding a skateboard around the stage.
Oh my God.
You're 10 years old. Like, what could be more exciting than that? And, thousands of people screaming while you skateboard and play the guitar.
I mean, that does sound like a 10-year-old's fantasy as well, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Rock and roll on my gnarly red. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a character from Saved by the Bell or something like that. It's like, who's the cool new guy? He's always on the skateboard, shredding.
That's how I see you, Matthew. Like, I kind of see you as the podcaster who skateboards and rocks out at the same time. That's how I see you.
Well, it's funny actually, because I think there's been a great sort of a tug of love between how I like the kind of people I aspire to be like and the person I actually am. I think that's and not even aspire to be like, because I've never I owned a skateboard when I was a little kid, but I was useless at I was going to say playing it.
Yeah, that's where you go wrong. It's like trying to strum it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I would stand on a guitar and play the skateboard. I was like, I'm going to sort of give it my own twist. I don't want to be just a Tim Ferriss copy.
I bet in 10 years' time, there's going to be that's going to be an act as well. It'd be like Royal Blood, but for like feet. But yeah, to be honest, I tried to riff something there.
No. There's absolutely nothing wrong with starting a sentence with no idea how it's going to end. That's how most of my best sentences have come to fruition.
Did you ever want to be that rock star as well? Did you ever learn any instruments?
Yeah, I played in bands when I was going to say a kid there, but like I played in bands till I was in my early 20s. Mm-hmm. And actually the last sort of proper band I was in, I was 22, 23 and I was at teacher training college. Mm-hmm. I was learning to be a teacher. And so I'd been to university, I'd come back, and then I got together with some guys in fact, it was one of my dearest friends, Tom Gibbs. Mm-hmm. And he was at the time going out with my sister. Mm-hmm. So he's like my younger sister's boyfriend. And he was 5 years, he is still 5 years younger than me, which at the time is like, it's a bit weird, isn't it? To be at teacher training college and to be in a band with some guys who are in sixth form. They might have still been in sixth form, or they just, my wife is corroborating, she went to the same school as them. They were still in sixth form. Was Tom in sixth form when I was playing in Carabine? Oh man.
Carabine's a name.
Carabine was the name of the band,
Oh, nice.
Which was also the name of mine and Tom's favourite tutor. That's where it came from. It was our favourite tutor at the University of Kent, Keith Carabine. Yeah. And it was also the name of if you've ever seen Badults, it was the name of the boss in Badults. Oh, so Carabine really nice. has been a figure that's loomed large ever since my university days. But yeah, that's where it's from. But yeah, so we formed a band and we played gigs sort of in and around Southeast London. But it got to a point when I was doing more comedy gigs than I was doing these music gigs, and also I just wasn't good enough. It's one of those things you're allowed, it's good to be able to admit it to yourself. So I wasn't good enough. Not a good enough singer, not a charismatic enough.
Charismatic.
I wasn't a charismatic enough frontman. I wasn't. Just didn't have the chops. We all enjoyed playing. Yeah. And I had a good time writing songs, but we just didn't have what it took.
Do you still even though you're very successful in what you do now, do you still ever have that inkling that, I would quite like to be a rock star though?
I think now it's more, in fact, I'm in a WhatsApp group with a few other comedians. Yeah. Where we talk about being in a dad band. And I think that's the next stage. I've turned 40 a few months ago, and most of my friends are newish parents, and that's the thing we talk about. It's going to hiring the antenna studios in Crystal Palace and just doing pavement covers. Oh, and that would be that's sort of the dream. I think that's I've put aside any idea that I'm going to do any original songs that's going to turn me into sort of. I mean, it's too late in the day, isn't it? Pop star's a young man's game. Dad band, much more comfortable with. But at the moment, it's a WhatsApp group where we will send each other tablature. Yeah. And then go, hey, can you do this day? And no, sorry, because I can't get babysitting for that day. It's basically it's a dream at the moment. It's just a dream that I have with 4 other guys. I
like it because even though it's a dream, you're still putting the admin into it. Though it's like, all right, I've sent you the chords and stuff. Like that.
Yeah, we're setting up doodle polls. We're sending each other, the chord sequences. We're just not actually picking up an instrument and playing it. Yeah, the admin is the only bit that we're actually genuinely good at.
Imagine if most rock bands got into it for the admin, been like, hey, we're Slipknot and we've done our taxes. Yeah.
I mean, that's not, that's sort of the big realization you get as a comedian. Yeah. When you first start, out, you think, oh, this is going to be great. I'm just going to spend all day, going for, going for coffee with my other funny friends and workshopping ideas and writing jokes. And then I'll just go to this gig in the evening, and you go, well, actually, no, I'm not going to go to this gig in the evening unless I spend an hour a day emailing clubs. And I'm not going to be able to afford the coffee unless I spend an hour a day invoicing clubs. And you go, oh, actually, I've just given myself an office job where for 20 minutes a night, I get to go and talk to strangers for money. But the rest of it is just, it's tempting.
Wow. Well, already this has already been quite an interesting conversation. But obviously we're going to be talking about going to festivals as well. But do you go to a lot of live shows? Well, pre-lockdown, did you go to a lot of live shows?
I tried to, yeah. I like going to see music live.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, again, I was going every week. I think it's different now because there are fewer kind of bands out there that I care enough about to want to go and see.
Yes.
And I tend to go to a lot of bands gigs where they're like, it's 25 years since we released this album. Here this is us playing it in full, and you go 25 years, and a Hitchcock tune goes off in your mind.
Yeah.
But so there's lots of gigs like that. But yeah, love trying to see live music. And again, it's always fun when you find a new band. That's why obviously you're wearing your Jeff Rosenstock t-shirt, your Worry t-shirt.
Yeah.
That in the last 3 years has been the biggest kind of it was every now and then a record comes along, and Worry was that record where you remember what it's like to be a music fan for an early music fan. Like when I would be so excited about I don't know, Manic Street Preachers' Holy Bible coming out, and I'd know when it was coming out. I'd know, and I'd be saving up my money, and I would go there on the Monday after school, go into HMV, buy it, take it home, be like reading the liner notes of the CD on the bus home, getting it home and listening to it, or and it was like that with Worry, that immediately I was like, right, when can I see Jeff Rosenstock live? When can I go to these gigs? And when he announced 2 London dates, I immediately bought 2 tickets for both of them. And the exciting thing there was that first tour that he was doing Worry in 2017, I think it was. So it was after the tour afterwards. He played at the Fighting Cocks in Kingston, which is a gig I've done myself as a comedian. It's Outside the Box, Math Brown's gig.
Oh,
and it's
really?
like a kind of, I think probably 100 people standing at a real push, more like 80. And that was so exciting to be like, oh, here's a band I love that I don't have to go to, like if I want to go and see Steely Dan, there's only one member of Steely Dan still living, or in the Steely Dan touring band. And B, if I mess up the booking and I'm not there at 10 a.m. on it, then I'm gonna be miles back, and I'm gonna be way high up in the gods. This is I can get to the front if I want to, and just see that kind of thrill of going to see, when I would be into a band and go and see them at like the LA2 in Charing Cross Road when I was a kid. Just a band that me and my friends loved completely. Like I went and saw a band called Alice Donut with all my friends, and they were like a band we really adored. And the thrill of going and meeting another 120 people who all loved that band as well. That was great. And that's how it was seeing Jeff Rosenstock 3 years ago. And
I remember, I think I saw Jeff live in London on the late 2018. It's going to be about October-ish, I think. And
was that in Shoreditch?
It was in Shoreditch, yeah.
Yeah, I was at that gig as well. When he had the saxophone and he played it up, stood up on the speaker stack and played the saxophone. Yeah.
And Chris Farron was support, which was amazing as well.
Chris Farron was fantastic, yeah.
Yes. And I know exactly what you mean, because with certain gigs, and I've mentioned this before in the podcast, with certain gigs, I guess it's like stand-up in a way where you need everyone to kind of be involved on the same page. That's when a gig gets magical. And I went to see a Screaming Females gig in Newcastle, and I loved them, but the rest of the crowd was not on board with it. They just stood there. I was like, woo, come on. But so it does require other people around you all being as intensely into it as you are. And with Jeff, instantly, like the whole crowd was just so into it. And it was one of the best gigs of my life, I think. And it was
That thing of everybody, especially because the Worry is an album which it's full of kind of sing-along songs,
Yeah.
They're very, punch the air. And I mean, obviously that's something, it's by design. Like the backing vocal is it's 100 people singing backing vocals on the album that you got together. So it's designed for crowds to sing. So having that, being in a room where, because it's listening to a record, it's that very personal experience of, it's just you and your headphones, and you don't even necessarily know if other people are into it or if other people like it, and then getting there and going, oh, we're all into this thing. It's that kind of community is amazing. It's great.
Yeah, and I mainly go to gigs entirely by myself, and that's kind of the way. Like, in terms of stand-up, you kind of travel alone. You gig by yourself and drive home. It's kind of part of the lifestyle. But with a music gig, when I kind of go there, and I don't necessarily make friends with other people, but just being surrounded by people who love this weird thing as much as you do for one night only, I think it's like really, really cool. And I remember going to like festivals like Download, and I'd go by myself for the whole weekend. And I just remember at the end of like a gig, like I saw Ozzy Osbourne in 2018, I think, and 2018, and I just me and this guy who I've never met before, he had his top off. I gave him a little cuddle. It was just nice, if you know what I mean. It's just like it's just like no other art form is that okay, but like I just like that. I like that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's there's a shorthand, isn't there, that if you are into this band, you've got to be kind of mostly okay.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I've at certain places, not necessarily applicable, but but for Jeff,
how was Ozzy, by the way?
So right, because I've seen Ozzy a few times actually, and I saw him in London in 2012-ish, and that was pretty good. And he had a different guitarist, but this for Download he had Zakk Wylde, and it's nostalgically good. Performance-wise, he's not there. It's very much, are you ready? It is lack of enthusiasm. And like, in fact, they do War Pigs, and Zakk Wylde does about a 13-minute guitar solo, which is, I'm too old for that now. You know what I mean? Like, and like, I just like, what's the point? And because the reason he did that, so Ozzy can sit off stage and sit down for a bit. And I was like, well, that's fine, but like, just do a shorter set. Like,
just end the gig earlier. Oh my God, that's the other thing as well that like is my big bugbear about gigs, is the idea that in order for you to feel like you're getting value for money, it has to end at as close to the curfew as possible. And when was it? 5 years ago, maybe, I went and saw They Might Be Giants, and they came on stage at 8 and they left at 9:30. And that is,
oh my God,
dream. No support, on stage at 8, left at 9:30. You definitely get a show, like that's, they're giving you 90 minutes. They didn't have a break or anything. There's no interval, nothing, just straight through 90 minutes. So you definitely feel like you're getting value for money for your ticket. And then you're either on the, not on the last train home, not on a train that's sort of, crowded because it's also got all the people from the pubs kicking out, or you're in the pub. It's a dream.
You know what? Like, I absolutely love that point, because the last show I went to see live before lockdown was the Menzingers, and have you heard of them before?
Yeah.
Before I went, I liked them, but I didn't know them a lot. And I bought the tickets, and then afterwards, on that day, I was like, oh, I can't be bothered, because I had to drive all the way to Newcastle. I did go, and I got a parking space, and again, I was by myself, had a nice time. But the best thing about that gig was that I don't really leave early, but as soon as they left the stage, I was the first into the car park and drive straight away, and there was absolutely no like traffic or anything, because I was the first one out, and I loved that gig. But the best thing about that gig was leaving like just ahead of everyone else. What a rush!
Oh, I've never understood people who go to a gig and then they go, should we put our bags in the cloakroom? Like, no. I don't. Where are you? You're not. It's not. You're going to be doing laps of the place. Just stand with your bag between your feet, like a human being, and pick it up at the end and walk straight out of the venue. Don't have to. Like, you don't want to have to during the encore go, well, I'll watch the encore from a queue over by the door. Just get out.
Also, I remember going to see a Blink-182 show in the stadium, and for the encore, there was they're doing all the small things, which there's a lot of drunk people who went there just to see this, and they left like they went out to go and get beer during this song. And I was like, come on, mate, it's right at the end. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna do like 2 more songs and that's it. Just wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So go on. We could talk about this. This is like when I went to see the Manic Street Preachers as well, where they did. It was when they claimed they were about to sort of go away for a bit, like retire, which I think lasted about 3 months before they came back. But they were playing all of their singles. They were playing basically the National Treasures compilation, which is all of their singles, and they very deliberately didn't play them in order because there are definitely bits where they're like, oh, there's like there's like 3 singles we released in succession that were kind of stinkers. It will just mean there's a mass exodus. It was really funny. Like you had to be really on your mettle. Oh, is that the first chord of Let Robeson Sing? Right, rush to the toilets because it's gonna be rammed in there. Got to go there now.
Right, I think we should crack on because I'm absolutely loving chatting to you just about general music. But let's see what we got in your festival. Let's go and set up camp. Hi, it's Matt Hoss here, and I hope you're enjoying the final episode of Season 1. It's been an absolute blast so far, and thank you for joining me on this journey. Just wanted to ask for a small favour. Please give us a 5-star rating on your podcast app of choice. This helps people notice the podcast a little bit more, and it's really nice to see those lovely reviews. And on top of that, why don't you share it with friends and follow us at Castival Podcast on Twitter. And you can email us at castivalpodcast@gmail.com if you want to get in touch. Enjoy the rest of the episode, and thank you.
About to drop some acid like I know I should, but I just remember that I left it in the club. I don't know how I'll get my high. I take a look around and know I sigh, but then my salvation, it comes through, cause I'm inhaling pure O2, cause I'm going into the oxygen tent, cause I'm going into the oxygen tent, yeah. That was actually quite disappointing.
So let's find out some basic admin, which we love, about your festival. So what is the name of your festival, Matthew?
Well, it's funny that you mention Ozzy Osbourne because it would be churlish not to call it CrosFest.
CrosFest.
I mean, it seems
I love
like
that.
it's right there, isn't it? As long as Ozzy doesn't slap me with a cease and desist. And I know. Obviously, it's a little bit, vainglorious to name a festival after yourself. But I don't know. All the money goes to charity.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you could say that about a festival, but a festival doesn't make any money for the first 5 years, does it? That's why so many new festivals spring up and then just disappear, is because you've got to have a 5-year plan. Like year 6 was where you start making your money. So in 6 years' time, those charities are going to get some sweet ka-ching from CrosFest, as long as Ozzy's cool about it.
In the meantime, you're going to have to invoice these charities to get that money coming in. You've got to get the that's how you
exactly. They've got to, it's a bit of quid pro quo here. They've got to scratch my back first. See it as an investment.
I'm sorry, but those helpful people are going to have to wait.
Yeah, exactly.
CrosFest. Oh, that's strong stuff right there.
Thanks,
Monsters of Cross. So where do you know where geographically in the world your festival is?
Well, I was thinking about this because when you first said, it's all about festivals, I was thinking, like, where do I know it's like a big expanse of green? Because that's what it needs to be, isn't it? It's like, the Lama Tree Gardens where they do the Lama Tree Festival or End of the Road, or the Pig Park. Is it Colton Park where they do?
Yeah, Colton Park.
Where they do the Latitude. Like that. I thought that's great. But then I thought, well, what's actually the festival I've enjoyed the most in terms of the camping? And it's All Tomorrow's Parties, which is in a Pontins in Camber Sands. And it makes perfect sense. You've got stages. You've got two rooms with stages on them because it's a Pontins, so there's entertainment. And everybody gets to stay in a chalet. So you've got a roof over your head. So it doesn't matter how bad the weather gets. I went to an All Tomorrow's Parties one year when it was snowing. And ordinarily a festival in the snow, It's not going to happen. It's bad enough when it gets to like early September for End of the Road Festival, and and the summer ends really quickly. So I think I'm going to take that model. I'm going to make it an out of season. So it's in Butlins Minehead, or it's in Pontins Camber Sounds, one of those places. Maybe Pontins Camber Sounds, it's a little easier for me to drive to. And then at the if it's out of season but it's nice weather, if it's like April or May and the weather's nice, everyone gets to go to the beach during the day.
Yeah,
you've got the beach right there.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Also, if it's at a Pontins or a similar kind of thing, you can also franchise that out to different things. You could do like a Reading Leeds kind of thing. So you can have like a
you could do it. It's 2 different Pontins at the same time.
Just pretty rock and roll.
Switching the bands over if they don't mind the drive. Yeah. That's very much how Dave Benson Phillips operates now. Is that he basically just does gigs in Pontins and Butlins and just drives between the various places. So yeah, we'll take that model.
That sounds good. So how many days of the festival do you have in your mind so far?
Well, I think with a festival, like I like the festival that starts on the Thursday or the Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I always think that's good. I mean, I know I've got friends who go to Glastonbury every year, and they leave on the Tuesday morning. They don't come back till the basically late evening of the Monday. They basically take a week off to really stretch it out. I think definitely a Thursday, because if we're ever performing at Latitude as Pappy's, arriving on the Thursday means you get a day when the festival site is kind of basically your own. You can just do, you can have it. It's like, no one else is around. Maybe 1 or 2 bands play late at night, that kind of thing.
There's also quite a magical vibe around the Thursday night, because it's kind of like everyone's quite fresh faced. Everyone's like, most people just arrive that day, and people are like, oh, it's a magical weekend, and it's like over extracurricular stuff going on as well. Like you're just settling in, and it's nice, and like you might have a couple of drinks that night. Who knows? Mystery.
Yeah, I mean the one thing you don't want to do, and the same applies for stag do's, is go so hard on the first night that you write off the weekend. You can get, because you're right, there is that sort of tingly sense of expectation and anticipation, and what you don't want to do is turn that into, well, I'll do all the drugs now because I can buy more drugs, and then that's it. You lose the entire weekend. So I think a sort of a responsible Thursday, where people have a little bit of time to it's a bit like Edinburgh. It will be the first and only time you cook in your chalet.
Yeah,
you've bought a load of food. You've stopped off at the big Tesco superstore on the way up there.
Yeah,
you've got loads and loads of food. You're like, well, I'll probably cook pasta every night, and then of course that goes.
You're in pie master and just
exactly. Yeah. You might have a pot noodle. Like at 4 a.m. But no. So I think that's it. The Thursday night, maybe there's like a late night acoustic set from one of the bands who's already playing.
Ooh.
And just very, very easy. No DJs late at night. Everything kind of basically is winding down around pub kicking out time. The other good thing about Butlins and Pontins is they have actual pubs.
Okay, so here's another thing. I always like to ask about like food and booze at the festival as well.
Yes.
But since you already have like a bar setup, so is there any kind of alcohol you would prefer to have here?
Oh, well, Tuborg is always the
that's
the festival of that's the so much so they used to really make us laugh that they had on the side of their cans, Tuborg, liquid soundtrack. That was how they described their drink.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Yeah. Liquid soundtrack.
Oh, this is a lovely album.
Yeah, this sounds like White Shade of Pale. It doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, I think I'm totally up for, also as well, because that's, if you are performing at a festival, you're drinking whatever they're leaving in the backstage area. You're not bringing your own booze onto the site. You're constantly nipping back to the backstage area and taking that booze for your own. So I'll happily drink Tuborg. I think no festival is complete without the miscellaneous bottle of, you know, the 2-liter bottle of something that like is being passed around all your friends, where everyone's having a sip and you're going, what's in this? And they're like, oh, it's a little bit of rum, it's a bit of tequila, put some Red Bull in it as well, just to keep us away. You know, it's a bit like a kind of 2-liter version of the dirty pint.
Oh,
but for some reason, people just, that's the way people operate at a festival. They don't go, well, I really like gin and tonic, so I'll make a big gin and tonic. They go, well, I'll put a little bit of everything in. I'll make that my thing.
It's always in quite a crumpled 2-liter bottle with the label taken off. It's not the first time it's been used in this way, has it? Like
absolutely, yeah. You're like, oh, I found this. You know, this is wrapped up in the tent from last year. This is actually still in good condition.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Well, I think it's time to head to the main festival. I'm already pretty excited.
Castival, are you ready? Here we go! Get on your feet! If you know this one, sing along.
Who is your opening act for CrosFest?
Right. Well, again, basically what I'm doing here is I'm just describing an All Tomorrow's parties that I went to in 2001, but it was curated by the band Shellac, which is Steve Albini's band. Not just Steve Albini's band, it's Bob Weston and Todd Traynor as well. But you know, you might have heard of Steve Albini is a producer of like In Utero, and you know, he's a you know, a famous producer who also happens to be in a brilliant band. And the way they operated was, because they were the curators of the festival, they wanted to make sure that everyone got to see them. So they performed every day at 4:00.
Yeah.
The first band on, there were no other bands on any other stages. Every day, 4:00, Shellac came on and did a set. And again, because it was indoors, it doesn't feel like 4:00. You know, it's, you know, if you're outside, you know, at a summer festival outside, you've got to pick a band that's going to be summery and jangly and get everyone in a good mood. If you're indoors, you don't have to worry about any of those things. You don't have to worry about people's mood. You just go, this is the first band who are performing. You're going to enjoy them. And I think that is, and as well, that they're a band, in fact, they're a band that I consider to be like very funny and entertaining on stage. They do lots of kind of, I remember I took Ed Gamble to see them.
Yeah.
Played him some shellac he'd liked, and I said, "Oh, come and see them next time they play London, because they're great. They do like loads of stage theatrics."
Oh, really?
And well, here's the thing. I think my idea of what stage theatrics are, and what Ed, who is a metal fan's idea of stage theatrics, you know, I think he was assuming inflatable devils that were going to spring out of a box and like Eddie walking on stage and beheading somebody. They don't do any of that. It
turns out it's just someone on a skateboard playing guitar. It was.
I tell you what, actually, a skateboard would have been more theatrical than what Shellac did. But here's the thing: there's a song called Wing Walker they do, where it's about a guy building a plane, and they pretend to be planes and sort of run around the stage pretending to be planes. It sounds shit. It sounds fucking shit. But
it sounds like a GCSE project, a drama project.
Yeah, it really does. They sort of step back from the microphones and scream the word plane and like run around with their arms out like planes. It sounds like dog shit. But when it's being done by like 3 miserable men, it seems much more like ironic and funny. And they normally end their set by dismantling Todd Traynor's drum kit while he's playing.
Oh my God.
So he'll still be playing the final song. He'll be playing the drums, and then he'll carry on. They'll put away their guitars. They'll run back on. They'll just take a drum away. So he'll keep playing whatever he's doing, but incorporating the fact that they've then taken a drum away, taking more bits away, until eventually he's just got like, he's got these very, very high cymbals. So he's just hitting the two cymbals, and then, you know, Steve will take one of the cymbals away and he's just hitting one cymbal. And then they will pick Todd up and carry Todd off stage, you know, and he'll still be playing the cymbal, and then they'll come on and bring the chair in. So they'll have packed up, basically. They'll have done their get out in front of the audience.
That's you're economizing time there. They'll be great in the Edinburgh Fringe, you know what I mean?
Well, you know what? It's very important at the festival. You've got to have a speedy turnaround. You know, you've got to have that flip it around. So I think every day, 4:00, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Shellac are playing. Shellac are playing for an hour.
So that's a strong. Like, not only are they playing once, playing 3 times as well. And
and they've got the songs, I reckon. I mean, as long as you like shellac songs. They don't do covers. There's no, they don't do night swimming or anything like that. They're definitely going to play a bunch of shellac songs. But
I really I did a little bit of prep on shellac, and I really it was quite a interesting delve, really, because like they're kind of indie rock, but with quite a metallic and heavy edge at times. Like it kind of catches you off guard a little bit as well. Like but there's also that kind of minimalism there, where when you mentioned taking the drummer kit apart, I can see that happening as well. Like it feels like it has that kind of fluidity to it as well.
Yeah, I mean they are because Steve Albini, I think the way he approaches music is he doesn't call himself a producer. I think he always says like recorded by Steve Albini as opposed to produced by Steve Albini, because what he wants to do is to make a band sound as much like the band as possible, rather than, I think that's why people get Steve Albini to produce their records. And I think that's what I like about seeing them live, is it feels like it's a 3-piece, it's a guitarist, it's a bassist and a drummer, and they just sound like 3 musicians playing together rather than, and that's definitely what I like about him. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
I just think they're a brilliant band. And they're one of those bands that like, I'm pretty sure that even if it's not the sort of music you're into, you'd enjoy seeing them. They're just a very entertaining, I told you about the Planes thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sold. You know what I mean?
Who doesn't want to see that?
And we're actually going to finish the podcast by doing.
We'll run around. Yeah, definitely.
I think we should genuinely do that.
I'm happy to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like having like not a resident band, but a band who is consistently there over the 3 days, and you get to see how they change. And I really like that aspect. Okay, so after Shellac on the first day, who have we got after that?
Right. I'm going to pick this band because I think they are a great kind of get the party started band. I know I said, Shellac are kicking things off, but I you can't have all wall-to-wall math rock for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So I've picked this band because I think they are they're a good festival band because they're a covers band, and that is Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. And do you know those guys? And
I do. Yeah,
Mike from NoFX. It's his
sort
of side project band, and they are the kind of perfect band. They do punk rock covers of just general songs, like chart songs that everybody would know and everyone would know the words to. So I think that's like, so even if you're thinking, well, okay, right, we've had to watch 3 old blokes pretend to be planes, then dismantle a drum kit, which Crosby apparently thinks is theatrics. Then at least you get, now they're doing Total Eclipse of the Sun, or sorry, Total Eclipse of the Heart, even.
I Believe I Can Fly.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily that anymore, but
for sure.
Sure. That kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think they, they're a band I haven't thought about for years, but now you mention it, like, something like that is, first, as you say, quite lively. Secondly, like, people, it's very accessible. So like, even if you've never heard of them before, it's songs you can get on board with. You know what I mean? You can have a nice time with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a really upbeat and a nice sort of counterpoint to Shellac, who are not they're not a hits band.
It's so weird that like everything you're saying after Shellac now is like, right, we've had Shellac, but we're gonna have some fun now, okay? Like
I have to have Shellac on the bill. I just can't, like, they're one of those bands that every time they come to London, unfortunately, with the exception of the last time they came, but that was because I just had a baby, and I'm sure they'd understand. But they're one of those bands, if I look back on how many times I've seen them, I mean, like the first time I saw them was at this All Tomorrow's Parties, and I'd nenever seen them on Thursday. By Sunday, I'd seen them 4 times.
Yeah,
they were already. I think they were already the band I'd seen more than any other band by the end of the weekend, and that's kind of kept up. But yes, so you're getting them whether you want them or not. that's happening, and then we get me first in the gimme gimmies to sort of, you know, put a smile on your face if you didn't enjoy Shellac. I mean, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you?
The way that you said it there, it kind of sounds like if you don't go and see Shellac, you're gonna have to pay a fine. You know what I mean? Like if you go, you have to leave.
It's mandatory. Yeah. Yeah. Everything else, like it's, you know, it's very Woodstock. It's very free love. It's, you know, whatever you want to do, guys. That's fine. No judgment, except for the 1 hour a day, which is the mandatory. It's a bit like prison. It's like, you know, you've got to spend an hour a day in the yard, and that's Shellac.
Yeah, it's very, very liberal. Do what you want, but just for that hour, very fascist. You know, everyone in the same room.
Yeah. It's a fascist dictatorship for 1 hour a day
with airplanes. What more could you want? I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm already enjoying this so far, and there's a lot of energy going on. So who we got after me first?
Right. After me first and the Gimme Gimmies, I'm going to put on another band who I think are phenomenally entertaining, and I would say this is a band that is closer to theatrics than Shellac, and that is Les Savies Faves.
Oh, brilliant! Yes.
So they're a band from New York, who I don't think are really a proposition anymore. So it would be, you know, getting to see a band that I loved and saw a bunch of times, but haven't seen for years. I think 2 or 3 of them are now Seth Meyers' band on his show.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah. So I would be. I'd love to see them. And what I like about them is Tim Harrington is the lead singer. He's this big guy with a massive, like, Henry VIII beard. It's like a big bald guy, and he is. Oh God, how am I going to? Again, when you start talking about it in the abstract, it sounds appalling. I'll tell you, like, I saw them in Barcelona at Primavera a few years ago. We get to the stage, we're waiting for the band to come on, and there's this big, like, enormous kind of shag pile type rug in the middle of the stage. It looks a little bit like, you know, the dog from the front cover of Beck's Odelay album, the jumping dog with long kind of long white dreadlocks. It looked like that. It was like one of those kind of rugs made up of like ropes. Anyways, that's in the middle of the stage, and then the band come on, and they start playing, and the opening song is started. I think it was "The Sweat Descends." I think that's the song they were playing, and they're playing it, and I'm like, right, okay, any second now we're going to see Tim. He's going to come out on stage and sing the song. Nothing. He's not playing, and the band is just working through the intro, and then suddenly the rug leaps up.
Oh my God!
And he's been, and like, you can't tell it's him, except for the fact he then grabs a microphone and puts it to what you imagine is his face.
Yeah. And
sings the song. But he has been on stage for like an hour.
Oh my God! Like, that's, so like performance art.
It is like performance art. So whenever the last band finished, which I didn't see, he came on, lay down, and just lay there still in like the Barcelona heat in a huge rug that he's kind of made to look like a sort of, make it look like a rug, and he leaps up and he's suddenly this sort of weird creature. It was bizarre, and like he's very good at he's very good at kind of creating moments and improvising things. Like I remember he every venue I've seen, he's tried to crawl up every surface and try to get to the ceiling and stuff like that. And there's always the going out through the audience. He's always wearing a different costume, and that will sort of somehow inform what he's going to do. So like I remember he performed in like kind of taekwondo gear once.
And he fought the audience.
Well, it sort of was a bit like that. Like he got out into the audience, and and then like people were like leading the mic over their heads so that he could do it, and like walked over the bar and stuff, and and then he's just a really good example of like how to be the life and soul of the party while still making it work. Like he also runs the merch stall at his gigs.
Oh wow!
Sells them, and sells them in a really kind of theatrical way. I remember seeing.
He should change. Bam.
Yes, that's exactly what he does. He goes, "Pow! There's your CD. There's your change. Bam! Pow!" This kind of stuff. And I remember seeing them being supported by the Hold Steady. The first time I'd ever seen the Hold Steady, who of course will be on later on. But he was in the audience for the Hold Steady, like really dancing, and not in a kind of way. Like all of this makes it seem like he's a show off and wants people to look at him. He's not. He's a person who gets a party started. He's like a Lord of Misrule. He gets things going. And I think that's what I like about, so again, we've had Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Now we've got Tim Harrington, who's going to be creating something like brilliant songs. All their albums are amazing. Inches is like a compilation of all their sort of singles they put out, which is great. But they are a band that are even better live because they're a proper sort of event.
And I think there's always a kind of a distortion sometimes between bands when you listen to them and see them live. Sometimes it can, like, if you see them live, you're like, oh my god, that's amazing, and sometimes it might be that you might enjoy it less or might enjoy it more as the studio stuff, because I remember seeing Smashing Pumpkins and seeing them, their studio stuff was better than their live stuff, but I saw them on a bit of a dodgy tour. But also there's other bands where it's vice versa. But like it's nice when it's not necessarily the same, but certainly it's like I enjoy the studio of certain things, but also I like the live version for different reasons.
It's an elevation of what they're already doing. So if you if you don't know them, then you're still, again, it's another one of those bands. If you don't know, I think you're going to be entertained by what they do on stage. But if you do know them, it takes it onto a new level. He's very good at messing around on stage without it ever really feeling to the detriment of the song. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think next time I'm doing a gig, like even if it's like a shitty open mic or something like that, I'm gonna be on the stage the whole time, and if I'm headlining, I'm like, whoa, yeah, I did it, yeah. And
then you know what? There was a guy who is way before your time, and I'm going to not remember his name now, but he was an Italian guy, very strange, very physical Italian guy, who was an open spot comic when I was an open spot comic.
Yeah,
and he would do stuff like that, and it was always a total disaster because he'd do open spot gigs. He performed once at what used to be the Comedy Brew House is now Angel Comedy.
Yeah,
by kind of Angel Tube, and he was on in the second section, and second section of an open spot gig could be 15 acts, it could be. So, but we knew he was on in the second section, and he climbed out of the window. So he was out. So like in the break, he climbed out of the window and sat on the window ledge. But like the audience couldn't see this; they'd all gone downstairs, didn't know this was happening. So when he was announced to the stage, he leapt in through the window, and he'd taken off all of his clothes apart from he was wearing a towel around his waist, and he put shaving foam around his face as if he'd come from his bathroom, which is sort of conceptually quite a sort of fun idea. But because he was, he heard his name, he leapt through, he hadn't sort of planned his entrance. He just landed on a table with covered in people's drinks.
Oh my God.
Knocked them over. People didn't know what, people were screaming. People didn't know what the hell was going on. I think it's, the big entrance is only something you can do in a big-ish venue. You can't do it in a 40-seater.
And that's it. And then I think I was at the gig, and I saw him then try to be a plane for half an hour. It was a bit weird. It was
yeah, you had to be there, I guess. You had to be
there. No, but and especially open mic, sometimes the concepts don't match up to the skill necessarily.
100%. Yeah. I'll tell you who's going to come on next.
Yes.
But only just to tell you that I wasn't there for this gig, but I'd love to have seen it. The next band is a band called Oxes, who, again, one of my instrumental bands, 3-piece, brilliant. Oxes are a band, again, a band I love, and have seen them a bunch of times live. And they did a gig with Le Savvy Fav once, and I can't remember who was on first or who was on second, because I wasn't at the gig. All I know is that it was seamless between their two sets.
That's cool.
The last song that, say, Le Savvy Fav played was the first song that Oxes played. They came on and with the same instruments as well. So they the guitarist of Le Savvy Fav is playing, and then the guitarist of Oxes comes in and starts playing on the same thing and takes the strap off and puts it over his neck. And I just want to see that, really.
Yeah.
Two bands to a seamless transition into.
It's cool. Oh, you know what? I like with your festival. There's a lot of not high concept as in jump through a window, but there's a high concept of a lot of really nice touches here. I think
the word you're looking for is theatrics.
Yeah,
a lot of theatrics is what there is.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I kind of like that, but it's not too much. It's not like as you say, like a metal festival. I mean, like there's a guillotine on stage or anything, but it's some nice touches, and I think it adds to the cohesion of the festival and its themes. You know what I mean? I think it's nice.
I hope so. Yeah.
So with Oxys, you say they are instrumental.
Yes, they're an instrumental band. It's one of those things where there are a few instrumental bands that I really like, that I just like them because of the mood. Like Mogwai is a good example. I love Mogwai, but truth be told, I couldn't really. I know the names of the songs, but if someone said, sing a bit of Mogwai Fear Satan, I'd be like, oh, I'm sure I know it, sort of. I know it if I heard it. Whereas because Oxys are a bit like a big kind of they big kind of riffy, like almost like metal riffs. They're another kind of math rock band, but I think I probably could sing along with the entirety of the Oxys album, the one that's Oxys with 3 X's, or 2 X's. I could sing along with that whole album, just the guitar parts. Yeah, and that's pretty rare. So I'm gonna put them on, but I appreciate that not for everybody. So maybe stick them on for half an hour or so.
Yeah,
basically, all I want is the first
crossover.
The crossover, yeah.
Okay, so how many acts have you got left on your Friday as well?
I tell you what, because otherwise I feel like at the speed we're going, we're not going to get through the rest of the festival. So I think let's say some of the sets went too long and they got bumped, and we'll go straight to the headliner for Friday.
So Friday headliner,
I'm going to say a band I've never seen, but I would love to have seen, is Talking Heads.
Oh, hello.
And again, like if you look at the Stop Making Sense film, I don't know if you've ever seen the concert film Stop Making Sense that Jonathan Demme made, but that is another thing. It's almost, in many ways, it's almost the opposite of the end of a shellac set, in that it starts with David Byrne walks on with a kind of boom box and plays a little beat, and he plays the guitar along to that. Then so they do Psycho Killer, then Tina Weymouth joins him to play bass on Heaven, and then Chris Franz comes on, and then eventually, like, basically they build the band song by song until I think there's 18 people on stage. And I think, oh my God, that's the sort of, if they were doing that set, the sort of Stop Making Sense concert film set, that would be an amazing Friday night. And again, it's it's the 80s, it's New York, it's hedonistic. And I think the Friday night at a festival is allowed to be hedonistic, even if at the end of it you're going back to sleep in a chalet. You can still feel like,
good night, Pontins.
Exactly, yeah. You can still feel like it's going to be a big. And also as well, they're another one of those bands that they've got some songs. They really have. Because I saw David Byrne. What's the name of that tour? The last tour he did. I want to say American Interiors, but that's not it. It was David Byrne, American Utopia, that's it. Yeah. American Interiors was that Gruff Rhys thing he did about having his ancestors traveling through South America. But, which was, there you go, that's for the Sunday night. So like when he did his American Interiors tour, he did songs from his entire career, he did all the way through Talking Heads and his solo stuff, and even did Lazy, and he's just got so many amazing songs. And is very good he's a very good live interpreter of his own material. He does one of the songs, Naive Melody, This Must Be the Place, in the Stop Making Sense video. He sings it to a lamp. So he's got this sort of standard lamp that he dances sort of with. And again, it sounds naff and old music hall, but when you watch it, him like singing into it and like dropping it down and catching it and dropping it down and catching it and running and stuff. And, it feels, he's able to do very weird and avant-y kind of stuff, but also make it seem really heartfelt and not arch at all.
Tell you what, I would love to see that trope, like dancing with a lamp, but in different like 80s music videos. Like imagine like dancing in the dark, like instead of pulling like
Courtney Cox.
You could bring him on stage, just bring a lamp on stage.
I think most bands should have a lamp.
Yeah. Talking Heads, I've got to be honest, I know them, and I obviously know Psycho Killer, but beyond that, I haven't really explored them. So, but I've listened to them, and there's a lot of experimental kind of 80s sounds. And I've from my research, they did a lot of albums in a short space of time as well. I think it was like 10 albums in like 11 years, which is really that's a high watermark. So, what about Talking Heads are you drawn to?
They are, again, something about the angular guitar riffs. I really enjoy that. I think lyrically he's really interesting and inventive. And they felt like, for the 1970s and even still, like a very modern band. They were kind of preoccupied with modern things, rather than singing about love. They would sooner sing about shopping centers, and I think their second album is called More Songs About Buildings and Food. That sort of is the kind of, there's a great song called Found a Job, which is them talking about it's a story of a married couple who decide to sort of start their own television network. And I like lyrically what he's about, but at the same time it's not arch or ironic to hold something at a distance. It's arch and ironic to kind of discover a greater truth about that subject. The love song you sing into a lamp is a genuinely beautiful song. And it doesn't feel like he's being, it doesn't feel like he's putting emotional distance between himself and the lyrics. If anything, he's sort of throwing himself into it further.
Okay. I think so. You mentioned some albums there, but if you had to pick one album for me, someone who is looking to get into Talking Heads, which album would you pick?
Oh, Fear of Music is an amazing record. Yeah. And it's also, I think they really got into kind of, I don't know if this is the right term anymore, but world music, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of like kind of Afrobeat sounds, I guess you would describe some of the things they were working with there. So it takes them from being a kind of post-punk new wave band into being a sort of a really kind of inventive and weird and musically distinct kind of outfit. But yeah, Fear of Music is great, but there's no duff ones really. I mean, they just, even their later stuff is really good. The album Naked is amazing. There's a film called True Stories that David Byrne made. They did a soundtrack album to that where they recorded all of the songs.
Oh, cool.
Great. But yeah, start with Fear of Music and then go from there. And then of course their first album, 1977 or Talking Heads 77. That's pretty good as well. Brilliant.
Well, I think we should go back to the chalet, get some rest, and wake up for Saturday. We've gone to see the Shellac set. It's really good. They did the same thing, but with different songs.
They did the same thing again. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a lamp this time, which was just as good. But so we're on a Saturday. Who is the first band of Saturday?
Okay, first band of Saturday is Liz Phair.
Oh, and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and Liz Phair is a really interesting and brilliant. And again, like the last time I saw, in fact, the only time I've seen her, I never saw her when I was into her in the 90s. I was, I think her first album came out in 1993.
Yeah.
I must have bought it around 94, 95. Those first two records, Exile in Guyville and Whip Smart, just brilliant, brilliant albums. And I loved her stuff so much. And she then went on to make kind of more commercially sounding records that I don't like as much.
Yeah.
And that's sort of fine. Like, obviously that's, we've all got to make money and stuff. But those first two records are just absolute masterworks. They're really amazing. And it's interesting as well, because I went to see her at, it was somewhere near Angel this last year. And I had never seen her before. And the audience was kind of my age-ish, I would say, maybe my age and a little bit older. And there was definitely, you could see that thing. It was a bit like when somebody goes, here's one from our new album, and everyone sits down.
Yeah.
But she played a bunch of songs from her sort of post-Matador sort of first two albums. And you could see the audience were like, really, because we're all excited to see Liz Phair, but just not quite as excited as when she plays stuff off those first 2 records, especially the first record. People were going berserk. And so I might say sort of Liz Phair, 1995 era Liz Phair. I know you're allowed sort of concessions.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say we're going to get a time machine and bring Liz Phair back. I'm not going to bring the Liz Phair of 2020 and say you can't play any of the new stuff, mate, because that's not fair. We all want it. We want to do the new stuff. We're all excited by the new stuff, but I think a girly sound, Exile in Guyville era set from her would be amazing. Would be out this world. Again, another one of those. I was so excited about seeing her. I had no one I knew who I wanted to go with, because no one I knew liked her as much as I did. I didn't. It was like I could have said to somebody, "Hey, listen to this record, and if you like it, come with me to the gig." But I didn't. I want that to be the case, because she's someone I've loved since I was sort of 14 or 15.
And it's hard to have that in place as well, just before, a couple of weeks before a gig as well. It's
exactly. Get into her as much as I'm into her now, That's
have all my emotional baggage and enjoy it, please.
Exactly,
But
and then she came on stage and she did 6 Feet One as a opening track, I think, and that was the opening track of her first album, Exile in Guyville. And immediately I burst into tears, and I was like, "Oh, it's so good that I didn't bring anyone to this, because there's no way of just hearing 3 chords being played and going, boom, I'm 15 again." It was amazing.
It's weird how I put you into that mindset as well. Like, to my sins, I was as a teenager, I was a massive fan of Bull and the Soup, and they've certainly not aged greatly, but as a teenager, massively loved them. So if I was to listen to their songs now, instantly back in that kind of idea that of that kind of teenage angst and kind of the awkwardness, and it's kind of, but there's also playfulness there. So I have a place in my heart for those things as well. But
I don't think it's entirely healthy to live your entire, I know people who are kind of almost live a little bit too much of like, oh, I never got any better than, the time I was at uni or that kind of thing. And you go, well, that's not a great mindset, because you've had a lot of life since then, and you've hopefully got a lot of life ahead of you. If you write everything off at the age of 21, you're in trouble. But I think a little bit of healthy nostalgia once in a while is always a good thing. And also like there are bands I used to listen to that I can get that experience from, that Bowling for Soup experience, where I listen back to them and go, yeah, I could completely remember why I liked this at the time. If this came around now, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think Liz Phair, I think if I heard, Girls, 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 or one of those songs, or Gun Shy, or anything like that, Mesmerizing, if I heard that on like Six Music, if it was, it was on their playlist, I think I'd like it every bit as much. Who knows? I hope so.
What I like so far about your festival, it's very 90s, 80s, 90s vibe, if you know what I mean. And Liz Phair, I listened to her today, and she has a lot of that authentic 90s sound as well. Like,
She was a sort of on the, I guess, the Chicago scene of the 90s, and she released this Girly Sounds tape that everybody loved. That has a lot of the songs that became Exile in Guyville, but it does sound like the 90s. So again, it's that's a lot of these bands will be. I'm just looking through the bands. Yeah, I mean, I guess Talking Heads are 70s, 80s, but they're a band I listened to a lot in the 90s. I better quickly add Stormzy or someone to make it seem not completely living
relevant.
In the past.
Yeah, you go a quick like halfway through, like, right, Stormzy, can you come to Pontins, please? We need you ASAP, mate.
I've just suddenly, it's funny. You don't really think of yourself as being the age you are. I went to see Blur a few years ago on the Magic Whip tour. In fact, it was a fan club only gig that we got tickets to.
That's amazing.
This is a real clang, because Dave Rowntree came on to do the election special of the last, and because he's a Labour, is heavily involved in the Labour Party, Labour councillor, and he said, "Oh, we're doing a gig. We were doing a few warm-up dates. We'll send you the warm-up dates, and if you can do any of them." And so me and Josh and Pappy's went and saw them in Wolverhampton in a venue that Tom and Ben used to play, like a tiny little venue, seeing Blur, which is so exciting for if you're you know, the age I am, Blur was such a big, you know, part of my growing up. But when I got there, I was like, oh, right. I just assumed, because it was fan club only, that everybody else here would be 16-year-old girls in Adidas tops and we'd be the oldest people here. But of course we are.
Yeah, you are.
Everybody here is you know, is between the ages of 30 and 50, because that's the age you would be if you were into Blur sort of first time around. All of the 16-year-old girls in Adidas tops are still here, but they're just not 16-year-old girls in Adidas tops. They're, you know, we've all got kids now.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, I think we should. Are you happy if we make your festival? If we finish
Make
it
it
Saturday,
2 days.
Yeah, make it 2 days.
Yeah, you know what? Let's make it 2 days. Yeah.
So we've made it. Sorry, Stormzy, you can't come anymore. Yes. After Liz Fair, who have you got on your second day?
Right. So it's going to be like Liz Fair into Team Dresch. Now, Team Dresch.
Yes.
Another. I don't know if did you know? I sent you the Team Dresch beforehand. Didn't I? Yeah.
So I got Team Dresch as some prep, and I didn't hear of them before. But wow, really, you know, some people when they send me stuff, I can see why they like it, and I do enjoy it. But with Team Dresch, I was like, yes, love it, great stuff. You know what I mean? It's like kind of in Matt Hoss wheelhouse right there.
Well, like, they're one of those bands that I knew. Yeah, God, again, it's impossible not. The thing about being of a certain age, it's impossible not to sound that age. But back in the day, when hearing one song by a band was as much of a band as you were going to get, if that was the only thing that was out there, they had a song on one of the Kill Rock Stars compilations, and me and my friends loved it. We were like, "This is what a brilliant band!" But I had no way of finding out anything more about them. You know, they didn't have a website or anything like that. There was no Spotify, there was no YouTube, none of that kind of thing. But then they ended up supporting Bikini Kill at the Garage in Highbury. So that was amazing. So it was a band called Savage Malignant, who, bizarrely enough, rode skateboards on stage. So they skateboarded on stage and played guitar. You know,
Crosby, you have a very, very limited wheelhouse of taste there.
I'll only go and see bands that are on wheels.
Sorry, Blur. I know I'm part of the fan club, but I'm really sorry I can't. Unless you get on the wheel skateboard, I'm out of here, mate.
If Alex James can put on some rollerblades, then maybe we can talk. But I'm afraid I'm leaving this gig. But so Savage Malignant, Biss, Team Dresch, and Bikini Kill.
Yeah.
And Team Dresch were amazing, and I didn't know anything about them, but they're a lesbian punk band, and from that show, I definitely bought their first album, Personal Best, at that show. Took it home, loved it. Just think it's an amazing record. Then I either bought both records that show, or I then went to my local record shop and was like, please, can you find the second record? And I think they're two and out, 2 albums, nothing else, and just complete, total classic kind of riot girly punk, it's just an astounding piece of work.
Quite nice to hear, especially from the 90s, that kind of that non-hetero point of view, and also these lovely kind of intimate lyrics as well. I don't mean intimate in a sexual way, but just genuinely like that. I remember listening to one. It's like my girlfriend who holds me whilst I cry myself to sleep. I was like, wow, okay. And I was on a skateboard and wailed away. But it was genuinely, I don't know. It was nice to have that, but also with that kind of intimacy in their lyrics, but they also have occasionally a bit of a metal edge as well. I remember the first song I listened to, like it had that punk sound and then just a metal edge to it.
It's got the first song on Personal Best. It's got that proper kind of like howling, sleepy vocals. Yeah. So, and there's there's a lot of tenderness and a lot of sweetness in their music, but also anger and aggression. And like one of those songs is called "Hate the Christian Right." So it's like politicized, politicized punk rock, all of the things I like about the next person who's going to come on stage, which is Jeff Rosenstock.
Yes!
So, it was only a matter of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But, oh my God.
So we have talked about Jeff Rosenstock earlier in this podcast, and it's remiss to say that I think, we kind of talked about how much he means to you, and how much that he kind of created that new lust for music in like a modern age as well. But like, for me, like I just found Jeff Rosenstock to be like just instantly wonderful as well. Like not only is the melody and music great, but I find with his lyrics that every time you listen to the album, it's like The Great Gatsby. Every time you listen to it or engage with it, you get another layer of meaning beyond it as well. And I think, it's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, and I think again, like I would happily Warrior is my favorite record, but I'd happily have modern day touring the current album, No Dream. Jeff Rosenstock playing, because he plays stuff from all of his records and mixtapes. He plays all of, a proper cross section, and he doesn't really have a song I don't love. And I mean love. I don't mean like, it's not like there are bands that go like, oh, I like all of your songs. Every one of his songs I really, really love. And it was mad to discover him, because the older you get, the fewer and further between those instances are. And I remember so keenly, again, this is the modern experience of music of a comedian called Adam Larter, who's the head of the Weirdos Collective, tweeted, already my album of the year is Jeff Rosenstock. And I had seen Adam at a bunch of gigs I'd been to, so I don't know him, we're not mates, but we know each other enough that we ended up at music gigs where we'd be like, oh, you're Adam Larter, yeah, we chat about, we'd both been to see Built to Spill at the same gig, cool. But not together. But so I was like, oh right, well, Adam basically likes all of the bands that I like, so let's have a listen to this. And I was on the bus coming home from a gig, and I just couldn't believe it. Just like, normally when someone recommends a record to you, you listen to it, and go, oh yeah, I reckon 4 listens time I'll like this, but now it's a bit of work. It was immediate and instantaneous, and I couldn't, when I saw them at the Fighting Cocks, my wife said it was really funny to watch me, because, in fact, I've seen them with James Acaster, Jeff Rosenstock band. I've seen them with Ed Gamble. I've seen them with my wife, and all of them have said the same thing, or variations on the same thing, which is, it's like taking my son to a gig. Yeah,
but I know exactly that feeling, and it's the wide-eyed look. And like, as soon as I saw him come on stage and perform, it was like that teenage fangirl moment as well. I was like, oh my god, and I haven't felt like that for ages. And to be honest, I remember the reason I found out about Jeff was through your recommendation. It was on the John Robbins podcast, Ellis James and John Robbins podcast, and you did Keep It Session. And I first listened to it. I was like, I might check this out. But as soon as I listened to the album, I was like, holy shit, oh my god! Like, nothing got me so fast as that record.
Yeah, and I've exactly the same way. And I think there's something about, obviously the opening track is amazing, which is I think the song that I played on the Keep It Sessions, which is Beg to Explode. Yeah, and but it's actually not necessarily indicative of the rest of his output.
No.
But and the album itself is, it's a real kind of musical grab bag, isn't it? There's proper kind of speed punk on it. Yeah. And there's ska, and there's kind of folk songs, and there's like a piano. It opens with a piano ballad, so it's really disparate and different. And there's a song that he wrote for it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a song he wrote for a musical as well. So it's like it's just. That last 5 tracks that the Abbey Road side of running all the songs together, it's just so exciting and energizing, and it makes you feel young. And I think Jeff's like 37, so he's like a similar-ish age to me.
Yeah,
but there's something about that music that makes me feel young, but it also is incredible. It's not a nostalgic. It's not nostalgia. It's not a feeling of nostalgia. It's a nostalgic feeling. It's a feeling I haven't had for a long time, because if I go and see a band, it's a band I either really like their new record, but I just want to go out and see a band, or I'm seeing a band who I've seen, 25 times before, and I'm seeing them again because I love them and I always see them every time they come round. Yeah, this is a current record. I love it. and I'm getting to see this band touring on this record. I'm not waiting for them to play something from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
But I think that's what this record and this artist kind of kickstarted a newfound love of modern music for me. And I think it was so important because after that, I got into bands like Menzinger's Pup, AJJ in particular.
Yeah. You know, I don't know AJJ, but it's a band that Rosenstock has mentioned so many times.
Yeah.
I should really listen to them.
So, honestly, I can give you some suggestions afterwards as well.
Please do. Yeah.
AJJ is like a folky version of Jeff, I would say. It's folk punk, and you don't think it's going to work, but it does. It's really good.
Right.
Sean Bonnet, who's a singer, is great. But we could talk about Jeff all day. But I think we should move on to. Possibly, is it your Saturday night headliner as well after this?
Well, I tell you what, because we've made this a 2-day festival, just because we enjoy talking about music so much. Can you believe it? We love music so much that we had to
make call a day
shorter. Sorry, everybody, you're gonna have to. But you know what? Actually, here's the thing about the Sunday. The older you get, the less you want to stay for the Sunday. So the Sunday's just it's gone. All right.
You know what? On your Sunday, you can put all the artists that you think that makes you look cool, just so you can head away for that day. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, Stormzy, come play the Sunday, mate, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there'll be stuff happening on the Sunday if you want to hang around, but this is how it's going to close. So what I was originally going to do is I was going to have, just because I think, it's a festival for me, but it should also be a festival for everyone else as well. I was going to have sort of 2 bands for the Saturday and the Sunday, 2 bands that are big and I love, but are, they're kind of, they can headline a festival, but they're also, everybody knows them and everyone loves them, sort of. Yeah. So I was going to have REM on the Saturday, Steely Dan on the Sunday. So why not give people an embarrassment of riches and have Steely Dan into REM? Okay, so Steely Dan chills us out, relaxes us. I know it's Saturday night, but you can still dance to a lot of their stuff.
No, but I think Steely Dan, even though following Jeff Rosenstock, I think Steely Dan, they have hit after.
They do.
Yeah, they can pull it up or pull it down in terms of tempo wise. They can entertain it, but that's I think Steely Dan then into REM, lovely combination actually.
Yeah, I think that's
really nice.
I think that's good. I as well. I'm probably going to do the old time machine thing, and say. I'm going to say, because I saw REM, I only saw them once, and I saw them on the Monster Tour. And that was 1995, I think. It was the second half of the Monster Tour after Bill Berry had his aneurysm, and it was postponed. And then, and it was an amazing day. It was REM with the headliner at the Milton Keynes Bowl. But also that day was Sleeper and the Cranberries and Radiohead touring on the Bends.
Oh my God.
So a phenomenal day for a 90s indie rock fan.
The past is amazing, isn't it?
It's another country, mate. It's another country. But so I think I would have them, because I know they didn't tour on Automatic for the People, but I would have them in the kind of Automatic Monster. I mean, I don't want them to play mostly stuff off of Monster. But I want to play a few of the things off of Monster. But basically, I'd like them to play, when they were still playing old stuff. Occasionally they throw in like a "Don't Go Back to Rockville" or something like that, like an IRS kind of hit like that. But mainly stuff off of Automatic, Out of Time, Green, and a bit of Monster. I think that's again, talking about Liz Phair. That's another a band that I got into after they'd signed to a major label, after they signed to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably signed to Warner Brothers in about 1990, maybe. And that's when I was sort of first heard Shiny Happy People and started getting into them. So yeah, that kind of like the mid-90s REM to close off the show. You're still getting all of, you're still getting all of the songs you want to hear. You're still getting, The One I Love, and you're still getting Losing hits. My Religion and Shiny Happy People. I don't think they ever play it, but you're getting hits. You're getting What's Frequency Kenneth. It's fine.
You know what? I think that's what a way to finish off CrosFest as well. I think we'll get drunk in a little port cabin, and what a way to finish off the Pontins holiday.
Can't wait,
So I think it's time for some quick wall fillers.
Let's do it.
As with event management, things are bound to go wrong. So here's a few quick questions that our guests have to deal with in the manner they see fit.
I'll tell you now, we've already shown our adaptability in culling an entire day from the festival. So I don't know. I can't think of any administrative errors that are going to come our way that I'm not going to be able to bat away with. I tell you what, Thursday's gone as well. All right, if that's the way you're going to be.
The whole festival's cancelled.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my. You know what? Actually, I just want to stay home.
Yeah,
we'll do it on Zoom.
So, question number one. Oh dear, someone's running late and you need to fill time. But fortunately, one of your favorite celebrities is willing to do a DJ set for you. Which celebrity out of anyone in the whole world would you pick to do a DJ set for your festival?
Right. So I think it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be like an artist that people respect, so they would trust that they would. You know, if I say, sorry guys, it's going to be an hour until Talking Heads come on stage. Mm-hmm. You've got to bring out somebody who the audience is just by the fact of them stepping onto the stage go, right, fine, we're in safe hands here. So I'm going to say Jarvis Cocker.
Oh, okay.
Because if Jarvis comes out, you go, well, at least we've got Jarvis here. You know, you sort of go, it'll feel like we've just turned on Six Music for a bit. Yeah. You know, we're just stuck on Six Music. Jarvis can chat about some of the songs he likes, play a few songs, you know, keep people going. So I think he's our man. Brilliant.
So two bands that you have on your bill absolutely hate each other, and that's Savvy Fav and Oxes. What? They hate each other. What? They said that only one of them can play, and you have to choose between the two of them. Which one do you have to pick?
Oh boy. Do you know what? I think for the good of the festival, I'm gonna pick the Savvy Fav because I think they are greater entertainment value for someone who's not heard their music.
Brilliant stuff.
I will say one thing: Oxes perform on boxes. They stand on top of boxes, so they have got some level of theatrics, but not quite to the not dressing as a rug.
What is your problem with people standing on things or inserting like?
It's classic short man syndrome. I need all of my performance to be slightly elevated so I can feel the same way.
Your festival absolutely loves you, and they want you to sing one song at the festival. If you had to pick one song from all the artists that you've picked from today, which song would you like to pick and sing?
Oh, I've got to sing a song. Right. I think I'm going to sing Peg by Steely Dan.
Oh,
because you know, it's everybody at the very least they know I know I love you better. You know that bit. They're going to know that bit from it being used on 3 Feet High and Rising, and people are going to recognize it. So at least they'll sort of know, even if they don't know Steely Dan. We'll be able to get a crowd sing along at least for 1 or 2 lines of the song.
And finally, no, REM has just cancelled last minute. Who do you get to replace them?
Ooh, who do you get to replace the biggest band in the world? Do you know what? Like, and I can pick any band of any
time, anywhere.
Okay, and I'm going to use the same time machine that I used to bring REM here in the first place. I can't believe they cancel when they've got a time machine. What's your excuse? We've got a time machine, Michael. I don't know why you're cancelling. That is the definition of you can move things around. I'll make some calls. I'll move things around. Anyway, let's not worry about that now. They've cancelled. I am going to get, and again, weirdly a band that I don't care that much for, but I know if you were expecting to see REM and this band walked out this era, I'm going to get OK Computer era Radiohead because it scratches a very similar itch. You know, they're a cerebral, thinky, you know, musos love them, but at the same time they've had some sort of chart success. There you go.
But also you have OK Computer era, so like that's very much of that legendary, but also of fitting of REM in that time as well.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Matthew Crosby, for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolutely divine having you on, and what a treat it's been.
Matt, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much. And we've talked for a long time. It's really past 4 now.
I mean, the edit on this is going to be absolutely brutal. But
good luck.
Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you online, and where can people check you out?
If people go to my Twitter or Pappy's Twitter, that's normally the best place for seeing what I'm up to. Mm-hmm. So it's Matthew Crosby on Twitter, or at Pappy's Tweet on Twitter for Pappy's. And you can get my podcast, which is the Pappy's Flat Share, which I'm always fun. It's like a sort of combination of 3 different shows. Mm-hmm. But have a listen, see what you think. I think you'll like it. Lots of guests that if you listen to this, you'll probably like the guests that we have on. And also you can hear my radio show Sunday mornings on Radio X, 8 a.m. till 11 a.m. every Sunday.
And all of it is absolutely brilliant. And thank you so much. And you can also follow Castival at Castival Podcast on Twitter. And also you can email us at castivalpodcast@gmail.com if you want to get in touch and let us know what you think about Matthew Crosby's festival. So I've been Matt Hoss, and thank you for coming to Castival. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much for listening to Season 1 of Castival. Thank you for joining us on these brilliant 10 episodes. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I have making them. It's been a real treat, and it's been one of my dreams come true. Thank you for enjoying it. Do remember to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, or give it a rating or whatever possible. If you want to hear more from me, you can check out me at Matt Hoss Comedy on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Also, I'm doing 4 streams a week. I'm playing video games on Twitch. Follow me at Matt Hoss Comedy there. On top of that, you can also check out my stand-up comedy hour called Here Comes Your Man on Bandcamp. Just search for Matt Hoss, Here Comes Your Man on Bandcamp. And I just want to say thank you, listener, for joining us. We'll be back very soon for Season 2. Take care. Hi, just wanted to do a quick little postscript for you. So after recording this episode, Matthew Crosby got in touch with me through WhatsApp. That sounded like I was doing a sponsored little thing there. Yeah, Matthew got in touch with me through WhatsApp, and during the recording, his wife, Charlie, was sat there, and she was interested by the podcast, and she made her own playlist of her own festival. And I just thought I'd read it out, because it's an absolutely banging festival. And thank you, Charlie, for sending this over. Hope you don't mind me sharing it, but here we go. So I think there's not necessarily an order, but I'll just read it out as it's given to me. The Smiths, David Bowie, Elton John, Violet Femmes, who are amazing, Ramones, hell yeah, Tim Buckley, Morrissey. So Morrissey gets double dibs there. The Smiths on top. There's Roy Orbison. There's the Spice Girls, Ezra Furman, Nina Simone, Elvis Presley. By the way, no one's picked Elvis Presley yet. Thank you, Charlie, for putting that. Jeff Buckley, I think it's the Platters, or the Plotters. Either way. And finally, Peter, Paul, and Mary. And after reading out this list, I believe it's supposed to go the other way around, from bottom all the way up. Because imagine starting with the Smiths and David Bowie. But what a great lineup, and thank you so much, Charlie, for sending it over. I hope you've enjoyed this very special episode of Castival with Matthew Crosby. Season 2 will be back. Season 2 should be not so far away. To keep on recommending it to your friends. See you soon. Bye.